Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at 3 Holiday Cup teams and how to play them. This is a format that I like to do with some of the students that I like to coach, and basically what we're going to be doing is that I'm going to be analyzing teams that were suggested to me on Twitter based off the tweet I sent out, and we're going to be analyzing against the core meta according to against the core meta that I've put together. So let's go ahead and get started. The first team is a double normal team with Wigglytuff lead, Vigoroth Safe Switch, and Alolan Graveler in the back. It has C for coverage, C for bulk, A for safety. Basically, any time with Vigoroth in the back is going to have A for safety, and then B for consistency. So if we were to take a look at it from analysis point of view, we're going to have Wigglytuff with Charm, Ice Beam, Play Rough, Vigoroth with Counter, Body Slam, and Bulldoze, and Alolan Graveler with Volt Switch, Rock Blast, and Stone Edge. These are the list of Pokemon that I'm going to be analyzing against: Altaria, Vigoroth, Diggersby, Obstagoon, Frostlass, Alolan Graveler, Marowak, Lantern, Skarmory, Magnezone, Stunfisk, this Unova Stunfisk, Wigglytuff, Abomasnow, Lapras, Dugong, and Drifblim. Obviously, there's some more Pokemon. There's quite a bit of spice in relation to the cup, but this is just against some of the most common Pokemon that you'll see. So with Wigglytuff lead against Altaria, you obviously stay. The Charms do tremendous amount of damage. The Dragon Breaths are double resisted. The Sky Attack will hit for neutral. Against the Vigoroth, Vigoroth is one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of this team. There is no Vigoroth check on this team. So a Vigoroth Safe Switch or a Vigoroth lead is quite troublesome. So if you have a really high attack Wigglytuff, you should be able to win the one shield against Vigoroth. Just straight Charm, shield once. But you'll likely lose this matchup if you have a bulky Wigglytuff, which I imagine most people will. But you'll be able to put the Vigoroth low enough that you can counter down with your own Vigoroth. Against Diggersby, because Diggersby is really good against Alolan Graveler since it double resists the Volt Switch and single resists Rock Blast and Stone Edge, you have to stay. You can't go straight to Vigoroth or you'll be in huge trouble. And then, so you just play the Zero Shield matchup. You're very likely to lose that matchup if it is an XL Diggersby. Against Obstagoon, you stay. Obviously, Charms deal super effective damage against the Dark type. Frostlass, you shield once and farm down. You will take an Avalanche, but you should still be fine. Come out with enough energy to throw at the next Pokemon. And then Alolan Graveler, you just mirror to your own Graveler. Is probably the best play. You could also shield against it, but it's kind of iffy because then they can bait and it gets a little tricky here. So I prefer just to go just a mirror and then get a little bit of energy on Alolan Graveler. If they switch out to like a Vigoroth or something else, you'll at least have energy and potentially can land a Stone Edge or a Rock Blast bait. Against Alolan Marowak, I would just play it out because it does beat Vigoroth pretty convincingly since it double resists the counters, and Body Slam is also double resisted. The Bulldoze are super effective, but it takes a really long time to get there and is not a great move. Against Skarmory, you go to Vigoroth. Against Magnezone, you go to Graveler. Graveler can actually beat the Magnezone if they go straight Mirror Shot in most cases. It is a little bit bait dependent as well, landing the Stone Edge. But they do have to throw the Wild Charge to be able to secure the one shield matchup, and that has to go unshielded. Stunfisk, you stay. Wigglytuff, you try to sneak a Charm through, and then one shield farm down is the ideal. A lot of times you'll just charm each other down. Abomasnow, you want to shield once and farm down. Lapras, you want to switch to Vigoroth. Dugong switch to Vigoroth, and then Drifblim you want to stay as well since you double resist Hex and double resist Shadow Ball, and they will have to throw Icy Winds. Against some switch-ins, Altaria, you stay, obviously. Vigoroth is what makes this team really challenging to use. I recommend that you take one Body Slam, then switch to Vigoroth, because you don't want to switch onto a Vigoroth at full health behind on energy. It's just not good. Against Diggersby, you want to go to Vigoroth. Against Obstagoon, you stay. Frostlass, you go to Graveler. Graveler, you switch to Vigoroth. Alolan Marowak, you switch to Graveler. Lantern, you switch to Vigoroth. Depends if Water Gun or Spark. If it's Spark, you can also go to Graveler. That's perfectly fine. Skarmory, you go to Graveler. You don't need to shield anything. You can basically farm down. Magnezone, and like the next 6 of them or 7 of them, you go to Vigoroth. And then Drifblim You go to Graveler as the hard counter switch against it. So this team, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this team. I'm sure Russ Panda 97 can make it work. But for me, the challenging part is that it loses a lot of leads and has to stay because of the shared weaknesses that it has with Vigoroth and Alolan Gravel that prevent it from being switched out. So it's a decent team, but I think there are some improvements or adjustments that can be made that would make the team better. The next one is from Yasir, who's a Twitch streamer. Definitely check him out. Features battles all the time on this channel. He's running Frostlass, Mandibuzz, and Vigoroth. And this team has B for coverage, B for bulk, A for safety, and A for consistency. I think this is a really strong team. Obviously, Mandibuzz is not super common, but I said stay in the lead team because Frostlass is an amazing lead. It can basically stay in versus almost anything and be able to take a shield or do a significant amount of damage, and as well win a lot of leads. So which I find really appealing. So if we go ahead and take a look at this, this is running Powder Snow, Avalanche, Shadow Ball, Vigoroth with Counter, Body Slam, and Bulldoze, and then Mandibuzz with Snarl, Foul Play, and Aerial Ace. I'm assuming he's running Aerial Ace and not Shadow Ball. I don't see any necessary reason to run Shadow Ball in this meta. Foul Play and Shadow Ball have very similar coverage. I guess like if there was like a fighter, for example, then I guess if there's no like fighters in this meta, so there are counter users, but Foul Play or Aerial Aces would be the appropriate move. So with a Frostless lead against Altaria, you obviously stay. You do double super effective damage with Powder Snow, and then as well double super effective damage with Avalanche. Vigoroth, you stay. It's one of the hard walls to Vigoroth. You also stay against Diggersby. The Fire Punches hurt, but the Avalanches hurt more. Against Obstagoon, you want to switch to your own Vigoroth. Is probably the best play that you can here. Let me actually just change this wording here. This is actually one of the few times that you do switch, in my opinion. And just because like the Mandibuzz matchup is not the worst, depending if they're carrying Cross Chop or not. Against Frostless, you stay because it can beat Vigoroth and Mandibuzz. Vigoroth and Mandibuzz do have counterplay against Frostless with Bulldoze and Foul Play. But they're much more complicated matchups. Against Alolan Graveler, I recommend that you stay because it also beats Mandibuzz. You're gonna end up like in a very close matchup, but it's playable. Alolan Marowak, I recommend that you play the Zero Shield matchup. You will end up losing the matchup, most likely, but you just play it out and hope that they bait or that you'll get to the Shadow Ball like half a turn earlier than the first Shadow Bone, so you'll at least be able to grab a shield, and then you come in with Mandibuzz to farm down afterwards, or farm up a bunch of energy and take it out. Lantern, you play the one shield matchup. It's IV dependent. You go straight, go straight. I don't know what I said here. Then go straight Shadow Ball. Go straight Shadow Ball. Okay, I don't know why I typed it out twice. Oh, if they go Thunderbolt. Okay, if they go straight Thunderbolt, then you go straight Shadow Ball, and you should be able to actually win the one shield matchup, depending on IVs. Skarmory, you just stay. You need to throw 2 Avalanches. The only time you would throw the Shadow Ball, Avalanche is more energy efficient than Shadow Ball, but the only time you throw the Shadow Ball is like if you're only get 1 move off and you really need the extra damage, then I recommend that you go Shadow Ball. Magnezone, you play the Zero Shield matchup. You'll end up losing it. But you'll at least do quite a bit of damage, mostly because Mandibuzz is also weak to Magnezone. Stunfisk, you stay. Wigglytuff, you stay. Abomasnow, you stay. Lapras, you play the Zero Shield matchup. You end up losing it, but you can farm down with Vigoroth later, which is always really strong. Dugong, you stay. Driplim, you also stay. And then against Altaria switching, you stay. Vigoroth, you stay. Diggersby, you switch to Mandibuzz. You could also switch to Vigoroth, but I like to switch out to Mandibuzz because you don't have to shield that matchup. Even if they're, I guess if they're running Hyper Beam, you might have to shield, but let's see if anyone's going to actually run that. Obstagoon, you switch to Vigoroth. Frostless, you stay. Graveler, you go to Vigoroth. Marowak, you go to Mandibuzz. Lantern, you go to Vigoroth. And then Skarmory, you stay. And then the next, 6, you go to Vigoroth. And then Drifblim, you also stay. So I think this is a very strong team. One that I think will perform quite well in the early meta. And then I'm sure Yasir will be showing it off on stream, so should be a lot of fun to check it out and see how he adjusts and improves the lineup. And the last team that I'll be covering is I call it F for coverage, but OP. I watched Grumpster play this against Tho Technical on stream, and this one has F for coverage, B for bulk, A for safety, and A for consistency. This is with Unova, Stunfisk with Thundershock, Mud Bomb, and Discharge, like Double Legacy Dugong with Water Pulse, and then Frostlass with Powder Snow, Avalanche, and Shadow Ball. So let's go ahead and take a look at how it plays, how you play up certain matchups. So against Altaria, I recommend that you stay. Against Altaria, I recommend that you switch, mostly because you want to. The premise of the argument from this person is that you say switch Dugong, you debuff it a lot, and then bait out the fire, and then you farm it down with Stunfisk later and have lots of energy, and then clean up with Frostlass. So sticking to that motto, I recommend that you do that. Against Vigoroth, you stay, because obviously that's the counter user that you're looking for. Diggersby, you want to switch to Frostlass. Dugong is probably better against Diggersby, but Frostlass can also win, and it's going to take super effective damage from the Fire Punch, but the Avalanche is going to do a lot more. Obscune, you stay. Obviously, Frostlass, you switch to Dugong is what I recommend. And then Graveler, Marowak, Lantern, Skarmory, Zone, you all stay. And then Stunfisk, Wigglytuff, Abomasnow, Lapras, Dugong, you also switch to Dugong is what I recommend. And then Drifblim, you also stay. You could switch to Drifblim, but all three Pokemon are very good against Drifblim. So these type of like whole teams require a lot of like aggressive switching, unless you like got the matchup that you're looking for, you know, like the Obscune, for sure you stay. But basically all these are very playable on the switch and getting the extra energy advantage, and then be able to farm down later, which is always a really strong strategy. Okay. Mute. Okay. All right, someone's trying to call me. I will call them later. Altaria, you switch to Dugong. Vigoroth, you stay, because obviously that's the matchup you're looking for. Diggersby, you switch to Dugong. Obscune, you stay. Frostlass, you stay. And then the next 5, you also stay, because obviously really strong matchups as electric/ground type. Stunfisk, I recommend you switch to Frostlass. Wigglytuff, I switch to Dugong. Wigglytuff is kind of tricky, to be honest, because the charm damage does so much. Abomasnow, I recommend you switch to Frostlass. Lapras, I recommend that you throw the Discharge, try to catch the Surf on Dugong, and then Dugong, I recommend that you Discharge and try to catch the Icy Wind on Dugong, and then Drifblim, I recommend that you switch to Dugong. So I think there's a very strong team. These like whole double typing teams with a farm down later are really strong, so I expect this to have really good play against the early meta, and I think it will definitely throw some people off. It has a really strong play against a lot of the top Pokemon in the meta. So anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you want me to cover more teams, let me know down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, could like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see everyone in the next video.